Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. All right, so we are going to start here on the weekly time frame on SPY, and then we can go down to the daily time frame, and then we'll close off the video with the new monthly candlesticks that just finished off on the 31st. All right, so we're going to start here with SPY's weekly chart, and I want to point out before we get into the video, I don't think there's anything inherently bearish about the charts that we're going to be taking a look at. I really cannot see anything that has any alarms going off in my head. So now let's get into the charts. All right, so first things first, SPY did not come down towards 431.19. That was the level we are going to be paying attention to down here. That was your last major low. Now, what we could have done here, just like on the daily time frame, we talked about this on last weekly's update, or last week's update, which was last Sunday. We talked about this on Friday. Last Friday, we could have potentially put in a higher low. And what we need to look for was a break of this candlestick right here, which is 445.22. We needed a break of that, and that was going to confirm a trend change over here on the daily time frame. Well, guess what, guys? We have a pretty similar look over here on the weekly chart now. We have this low right here, and since this was the last major low, guys, we could have potentially just put in a higher low. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be how this goes, but just like on the daily chart, we were looking for the break of the last high. We got to watch that on the weekly time frame, which is all the way up at 459.44. If you can break through 459.44, that is what I'm going to say. This is your higher low. The bull trend is continuing. So that is what I'll be paying attention to over here on SPY going into this week. Now, we're going to talk about what to watch on the daily time frame, so the smaller time frame in this case. But from a weekly perspective, that is all we really have to pay attention to. It's either this thing right here is going to remain the high. We're going to come here for a lower high, and then we're going to come back down here, take out this low, and then you have lower high, lower low. So then you'd have a trend change in the downward direction. But I'm just going to point out, if you do end up seeing it come up here, that is when all bets are off for the short side. You're probably going to see some, a decent amount more upside. I'm just going to point out right here. All right, you have this resistance going on. All right, so that's like 462, we'll call it. But above there, guys, you have nothing. All right, you have nothing really till all the way over here on the weekly time frame, which is all the way up at 472. So if you clip 460, you are going to be, you got a $12 move on the table. That is just something I'm going to point out there. All right, so those are literally the two scenarios you got to pay attention to on the macro scale of things here on the weekly time frame. All right, coming over here to QQQ, I'm going to point out we have something very similar. And if you want to say this chart looks bearish, I don't know what you're seeing, because all I see is you held support and you're come back up, and now you're very close to the high. You're actually right here at the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement. And if you do pass that, I say we're probably going to take out this high. And when we do take out this high, if and when we take out this high over here, that is going to put this in as another low. You're going to have a double bottom here, and you're going to have a breakout on your hands. And then, that's going to call for a higher price, just like SPY. We don't really have any resistance till you come all the way up here. There's like nothing, guys. That's almost at $400. All right, the high was at 390. So again, you have, that's $10 just on the table once you do have your breakout. And in this case, over SPY, you have a double bottom going on here, very clear double bottom with the neckline up here. So we probably would have a more explosive move out of QQQ. All right, coming over here to DIA, I'm going to point out the same thing I was pointing out last week. So far, it's just looking like a perfect break and retest. You did get the follow through off of this candlestick right here, so that hammer is confirmed as of the closing week we're talking about right here. It really is just a break and retest, guys. There wasn't much I could say other than that. Like I was pointing out, all right, this doesn't look like a terrible chart to me. It looks like you have a break and retest on your hands on the weekly chart over here on DIA. IWM, guys, you held the line over here as well. I pointed out, all right, I think it was like the last 5 declines. When you put in a doji, that is when you started seeing the buyers step in, all right? So you got it going on over here. Buyers started stepping in. You had this big sell. Buyers started stepping in. So there's one. All right, you came down. Oh, doji candle. There you go. You got 2 wicks right here. All right, 2 wicks right here. You started seeing the buyers full on stepping in. Over here, doji candle. Well, that marked your low. All right, so there was that. Yeah, I guess that's it. Oh, right here. All right, then drop down here. All right, and I'm talking about when you have these big sells, and then, point is, that was the first sign that we were paying attention to, that buyers were stepping in, and this week you get the fall through. So that did end up being the case, and until 380.37, which I think is the low of this candlestick, yeah, 180.37, until that's taken out, we got nothing to worry about over here on IWM. Once that is taken out, we'll go level by level, and we'll be looking for it to come down to 173-ish. That'll be that. All right. Now, we are going to move over to the daily time frame. Let me just come over here and put that on there. All right, we're going to come over to here to SPY. Maybe it looks like a mess. To me, it doesn't look like a mess. I'm going to go over it real quick. All right. All right, red lines, guys, those are your support and resistance. You know, your zone, that is your supply or demand zones. And guess what? We are right near this gap fill, which is the green level at 455.49. And that is right above the golden pocket. The golden pocket is the 0.618 to the 0.786 Fibonacci retracements. I'm going to point out, if you do exceed this 0.786 fib, that is what I'm going to say you're probably going to push up to 460, and price is going to try and break this high. Because if it's going to be a retracement, it's very likely it's going to stall out in the golden pocket or before the golden pocket. And right now we're at the top of it. So there's that. Now I want to come over here on QQQ, and I'm going to point out you literally got rejection right there from the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement there at 381. Then also the gap fill at 380.69. So we can take this off our chart, but just know we have filled that gap. That is, typically those are going to be your support and resistance. You have gaps. You're going to have your buyers or sellers stepping in on those gap fills, and I think that is exactly what we got over here. Top of that, you have this 0.786 fib. Now, Fibonacci retracements, if there's two indicators, I'd say, most traders are going to be looking at, it's going to be the art side, and it's going to be these fibs. So that's why you have sellers stepping in right there, which is just because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because so many people are looking at them, and it's that. So I'm guessing why we saw this price action. Do have a bearish candlestick following a shooting star candlestick right here at that, the top end of the golden pocket here. Like I said, if you start inching on above it and we get a daily close over this level, 381, that is what I'm going to say. We're very likely going to start pushing up here. All right, but just like I was pointing out on the weekly charts, guys, does this really look bearish to you? Doesn't look bearish to me. All right, what's to say we're not just literally going to do that? Come back, retest your breakout level, which is right here from this ugly double bottom. All right, so you would come back to 372.74, and then we could just be back off to the races. So let's just get rid of that and clean up the chart real quick. I'm going to point out what we are paying attention to here on the hourly time frame before it did end up breaking out. But we're saying this is definitely, I think it was right here. You had a bull flag going on right there. We pointed out, hey, if you push on up to 370.47, that is when you're going to have a breakout on your hands from this inverse head and shoulders, and you likely go a bit further. We were saying if you break there, you're probably going to start ticking on up to 375.29 and the 380.69 gap fill, which we just took off of our chart because it has been filled. That did happen. Who is to say you're not going to just pull back here, get a retest of where you broke out from? So it could either be the double bottom. We have an ugly double bottom at play here, which is right here. All right, an ugly double bottom just means the double bottoms are not, like, the bottoms are not 1 to 1, all right? They're not at the same level. It's ugly, all right? You have one lower than the other, one higher than the other. You get what I mean. All right, but that neckline is right here at 372.74, this level right here. And then you have the inverse head and shoulders formation, which, like I pointed out, the neckline is at 370.47. So I'm open to a pullback to either one of these levels, but I got to tell you guys right now, just from an unbiased perspective here, someone who's just looking at the charts, this thing doesn't look bad. I'm just going to say that. So I'll repeat what I said, all right, in last week's update, just like I probably said in the previous one. Guys, if you're a bear and you weren't satisfied with this 6% drop here, I don't know what you were looking for. All the daily RSIs were almost at 30, and that is when your boy was like, hey guys, this makes no sense. A lot of people are turning bearish. Everyone was talking about this head and shoulders formation here on SPY, and I commented on it in last week's update, and I was like, oh, the silly head and shoulders pattern that everyone is seeing right now and talking about. Guys, if enough people are having their eyes on, it's probably not going to end up playing out. It's like all these rising wedges we were seeing on the indices. Literally, we just had so many, and they just kept breaking up. It didn't matter, like, you know, I think it was like over here. You broke down, boom, and then you had a complete melt up. All right, I know, ugly pattern right there. But we had a ton of them on QQQ as well, and they just kept breaking up. And it's because everyone was just getting super bearish when they were about to break out, and then boom, you just have a short squeeze. So I think that's exactly what we had over here. I think everyone got really bearish. Everyone thought 430 was going to be hit, so they probably were like, oh, I missed this very slow decline here. Look at this. This is like a slow guy right here. You didn't have any, you know, harsh selling going on until over here. That's when you started getting panic selling. But yeah, guys, when we see certain things, we're going to be like, hey, guys, this doesn't make sense. It also was aligning with the VIX coming up here to a spot where on the RSI, guys, typically just, it literally cools down from this level. Like, unless you're getting a crash, it's just going to be cooling down. So when we see these things, we're going to talk about these things. But yeah, guys, SPY stalling out in the golden pocket. You're right here at resistance. So this should be a red candlestick because you had to open higher than the close. I don't know why my thing does that. Maybe I got a setting going on that does that. I'm not sure. But yeah, so you have two rejection candlesticks. I will say right now, buyers did step in towards the end of the day here. That is what that represents, this lower wick right here. Sellers tried pushing you down, buyers tried recovering. So we do know there's still a battle going on here. It's not really an imbalance going on, but we do know there are sell orders. So compared to over here, this is the first spot you're really getting these sellers step in. You got one wick right here. All right, you don't really have anything from over here, this big green day, because above here, above this 445.22 level, we knew there wasn't anything until 448.11, and above there, you had nothing until 451.55. So look at that, price went straight to 451.55. That's why you have an upper wick here, and then you also have a gap up, and then sellers took the wheel the whole entire day up until that last point where this wick came in. So we do know battles going on, but we do also know this is where the sellers are at. We know by that 0.786 fib, hey, on QQ and SPY, the sellers are going to step in. It's got to be right here. So, you know, that's literally all there is to say about, you know, SPY here going into this week. We don't really have anything complicated to talk about here. Just literally watch for rejection coming out of this zone right here, the supply zone, from 453 down to 451.55. If you do give that up, the levels to be paying attention to are going to be down here at 448.11 and then 445.22. Now, again, just like QQ, guys, who is to say this isn't going to be just a back test of this ugly double bottom that we broke out with at the neckline, 445.22? So I'm just pointing out, guys, there's nothing inherently bearish about this chart. I don't think anybody can. If you are still seeing bearish things in the chart, I'm going to tell you right now, all right? Just do yourself a favor and just ditch the bias, all right? You could ditch it. Don't even have your skin in the game if you're sitting there with a bias. Just like kind of just take a chill pill. And then, like, you know, things will probably, you know, they become, like, you know, pretty clear, right? I'm not going to say, like, guys, putting on these trades, it's not the easiest thing in the world, all right? Even when, like back over here, your boy, like, had, like, you know, so many things suggesting, like, guys, we're probably going to be bottoming very soon, all right? But, like, it's tough. You can analyze the charts all you want, but in reality, there are so many other market participants online just screaming their opinions, and it's tough, all right? So everybody got bearish towards the bottom here. That's pretty much like all around. That's what I was seeing. There were very, you know, select few saying like, hey guys, downside's limited or we bottomed, all right? There were a few people, but you know, the vast majority of people were getting very bearish down here. And if they are still very bearish, then what is that going to tell you guys? Well, a lot of people are going to try shorten these, you know, these starts to little sells here, and it very much so can turn into something scary like this. But then boom, short squeeze comes out of nowhere. So when you get to these key levels, don't be surprised to see that short squeeze come out of nowhere. It's not going to be like, you know, like I saw a comment saying price action was like poop this week. I say it wasn't. All right. I say people probably got stuck on the wrong side of things. All right. Because in reality, guys, it was extremely simple on Tuesday. All right. So right here, we had a weekday here, very low volume, but we did get the follow through from this candlestick right here. And all you need to see was a break of 445.22. And we knew this level right here, 448.11 was likely, and then we knew 451.55 was the only level above there to be paying attention to. It went straight up there. And then you started seeing sellers start stepping in at the supply zone. So in my opinion, price action was extremely clean. Anybody who thinks it wasn't clean, you might have gotten stuck on the wrong side of things, and it might have been frustrating. But that's why I say take a step back, relax, just, you know, just look at the charts. They're not terribly bearish until we see some, you know, structural damage to this chart, which, like I pointed out in Friday's video, you're going to have to come here and take out this low. Guys, that is $20 lower. So, like, you have no reason to get, like, you got no reason to get bearish now. That's what I'm getting. I'm just, I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. But, like, I'm serious. Until you do something like this, you come down here, you have a new low to go off of, maybe come up here for a lower high, and then you break it, you got to see the trend change back down. Over here, we had a downtrend. Anybody could have played, I think it's right here, all right? Anybody literally could have played after this candlestick right here. We had confirmed the downtrend. And how much more downside did you have right there? 12 bucks. All right, after here, you could have played the uptrend. I'm not saying, you know, like I just said, it's hard, it's difficult to execute. All right, you have a bunch of other market participants, but in reality, if you want to do things the safe way and not play a guessing game, that's what you're going to do. You're going to just take your piece of the pie here, and you're going to not catch the whole move. And, you know, I'm just pointing out this pullback, it's going to be a buying opportunity because the trend is now up. All right, so I'm going to conclude the video out with the monthly charts, but I hope you guys enjoyed what we just went over. All right, I think it's important to take a step back and just realize that, you know, less trades are going to be better as long as they're the quality setups. We just talked about, you know, the quality setups over there in SPY, and there have been a lot. But I do think, like, hey, a lot of people probably just forget about these things. And, like, that would have been the easy play. What I just pointed out. Would it have been tough to sit on your hands? Yes. Damn right it would. All right, but let's talk about these monthly charts, all right? I know there's a bunch of lines. Let's just get rid of the lines just for now. I am going to point out you do have, all right, you do have a hammer candlestick over here on SPY. You have a hammer candlestick on QQQ. You have a hammer candlestick over here on DIA. Hammer candlestick on IWM. Guys, again, with the this doesn't look bearish to me. All right, it can to everyone else, it just doesn't to me. Look at this. All right, you got this resistance right here, boom, flip. All right, let's just put that back on there. All right, there you go. All right, and then what does VIX look like? Boom, inverted hammer / shooting star candlestick. All right, guys, so I'm just pointing it out. A bunch of these things do not look bearish. Nvidia does not look bearish. Apple does not look bearish. Look at this hammer candlestick, guys. And let me do what I just did over there. Where is this doing? It's flipping the strong resistance going on right here, right? Right from this level. You got all of these touch points going on. You're literally doing a break and retest. You see it? All right, you see it? I see it. Google. Nothing bearish about this chart. Just like last month, I was like, are you guys going to short into this thing? I think this was a thumbnail. It was like, is this bearish to you? I'm pretty sure I made this exact thumbnail. It was on Goog. This thing doesn't look bearish. Then you got the confirmation candlestick that buyers are still stepping up. Crazy. Meta, hammer candlestick. Amazon, indecision candlestick. Amazon has been, you know, he's been in the bleachers. All right. He has been just watching the show. Everyone else has been, you know, doing the thing. Amazon is not doing its thing. Microsoft, hammer candlestick. Guys, there's just so many of these hammer candlesticks that I'm like, it's kind of crazy. All right, you got the buyers stepping in right here. This TSM that's had some ugly few weeks there. All right, indecision over on AMD, MU, hammer candlestick. Let's see what Tesla's doing. Hammer candlestick. Tesla, by the way. Boom. All right, boom. Rivian, nah, that's not doing too much. Neo is actually one that's making a comeback. Not like much of a comeback, but guys, you see this little hammer going on right there, all right? Put on some lines. Let's see where that hammer's coming out of, guys. Break, retest. We'll talk about this in the live stream tomorrow. By the way, guys, we do, if you're new here, we do a live stream every single Sunday. So, you know, if that sounds good to you, join the gang. We are a forever growing community here. And thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for being with me. I very much so appreciate you. Let's look at a few other guys. All right, got some indecision going. I was just kind of looking at these big boys. All right, Bitcoin, I'm not going to say Bitcoin looks good. All right, Bitcoin does not look good. But I am going to actually point out some things while I'm looking at this chart right here. I want to point out, all right, this is a lower low than this right here. And I don't know if it's going to be respected, but you do have a triple bullish divergence going on right there on that RSI. So that's something I'll bring to your attention. All right, guys. So I'm going to conclude it with that. We just took a look at the monthly charts here. And like I pointed out, guys, we have so many hammer candles like it's ridiculous. So I do think we're probably going to have a bullish month. All right, in the upcoming month. We know buyers had the follow through here, guys. We just had a battle. We have like one of these going on right here. One of these pullbacks where sellers step in for a while. All right. And then buyers literally just, look at this full on recovery. All right. Full on recovery. Look, we start out the month like that. And then, you had these two, you had these two. All right, guys. Most of that was recovered. You can't tell me that this was a bearish move that we just had. If anything, it put in another major low. And if you break this high, we're going sky high and we're going near all-time highs here. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to close out the video with that. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. All right, just know we will be live tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. You can give me some ticker requests. We can look at that, and then I'll also be looking at least 10 setups that I provide going into each week. All right, that being said, everybody have a lovely rest of your week, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.